Hello, and thanks for tuning in to The Power of Words. I'm Buck, and today I'll be sharing the 9th chapter of my first published book called The Child Shall Rise, and the name of this chapter is Agency Life. So if you haven't watched the first 8 chapters, go back and do that so you can get the context of it. This is chapter 9. Arpatha was delighted with Jared as a student. He was very smart for a 4-year-old and was keen to learn. He was polite and caring and seemed more mature than other children his age. She was, however, worried about him. The agency was a very secretive place where most of the realities you knew were the lies you were told. She had been told that Jared's parents knew where he was, but for operational reasons were not able to be with him. With every passing day, this rang less true inside of her. She also wondered about the training the boy was receiving from Agent Gray. The story was that Gray was teaching him to control his emotions and to properly channel his abilities in constructive ways. But the limited information she was getting from Jared seemed to conflict with that. It sounded like Gray was pushing him beyond his limits, intentionally trying to make him lose control and unleash his abilities. Arpatha was noticing changes in both Jared and Lara, especially leading up to or following their training times with Gray. Walking down the corridor, she found herself outside of Gray's office. Gathering herself, she knocked at the door. "Enter." As Arpatha stepped through the doorway, Gray spoke before she had a chance. "I was wondering when you would come to me. I'm sure the children have spoken to you about their training and that you have concerns. You are very proficient in your duties, Arpatha. You are their teacher, their mother, their counselor, and their friend." His tone changed. "I am none of those. I have duties of my own, and I also am proficient in what I do. I'm not free to discuss my training techniques or objectives with anyone who has a security clearance below level 4. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have other matters to attend." Any fear Arpatha had before entering was now replaced with anger. "Hold on. You just hold on there 1 minute. I came in here to talk to you, and you will listen to me. You've got everybody in this place so scared that they will only speak when you give them permission." She noticed a change in his face. "I don't know why you are smirking now, but this is not funny. Those children are my concern, and anything that affects their welfare is part of my duty. And another thing—" Gray stood. "Enough! My momentary amusement with you has ended." There was a flash in Gray's eyes that Arpatha had never seen before, a tone in his voice that sent chills down her spine. Taking 2 steps toward her, he growled, "Leave now while I will still allow you." Arpatha was running halfway down the corridor by the time she heard the sound of Gray's heavy desk smashing against the wall. Cilantro Smythe paced back and forth across his large office, his mind racing while he murmured incoherently to himself. His paranoia was kicking in because he had crossed paths with 2 of his subordinates who were laughing at a joke, and he assumed they were laughing at him. "Laugh at me, will they? I can't help it if I'm short. They're jealous. They're all jealous. I've got money. I've got power. Intercom on. Attention, Augusta Wada and Jonas Anton. You're fired. Drop off your ID badges, keys, and all agency property at the security desk on your way out. You have 10 minutes to leave the complex. Agent Gray, ensure they comply. Smythe out." After seeing the 2 former employees out the front security gate, Agent Gray made his way to Smythe's office. "Director Smythe, I have come to inform you that Arpatha has dared to challenge me and only remains alive because of the services she provides for my trainees. I want you to be aware that if she speaks another word to me, that will be the last word she ever speaks." "Gray, The only reason she is here is because of those free children you've brought us. You know I was against that, but you have convinced me that they may be of some use to us. If you want her gone, all you have to do is say the word. I'll send her a message now, telling her to stay away from you, or she will find herself unemployed." It had been 15 days since William Blake had first disappeared into the walls of the agency. For the first few, his focus had only been on surviving one day at a time, until he could find a way to escape. But once he hatched his plan to reprogram one of the system's maintenance droids to bring him food, water, and intel, he began to see the long-term benefits of remaining where he was. Almost everyone at the agency had ruled out any possibility of William still being inside the complex. Gray, however, had not. He was not one to give up on a possibility until he had a very good reason. Knowing how difficult it would be for Blake to get out of the complex and off the grounds undetected, he considered that it would be just as likely that he had found a place to hide within the agency. He continued to have some of his agents patrol every inch of the place, scanning for Blake's biosignature. Little did he realize that only 2 days ago William had been within 20 meters of him. Although tired of the tastes of nourishment cubes and longing to have something more substantial to bite into, William was thankful for what he could get. He had made significant progress accessing information about the agency through Roscoe. The little droid had even been programmed to scavenge parts intended to be used for internal repairs for William to repurpose for his own needs. A broken gesture recognition holographic interface, or GRHI, device was even recovered from a waste disposal unit. After working on it for 3.5 days, William was able to amalgamate it into an environmental conditioning unit, enabling him to draw power from it. Now he could use the GRHI to directly access the database mainframe, meaning that even when Roscoe was being used for maintenance purposes, William was still able to be hacking into agency intel. There has to be some way to get out of here. Some weakness. Some gap in the security. Maybe there's a way off the roof or an underground tunnel. If I keep looking, if I could stay patient and wait for the right circumstances to line up, I have to think the longer I'm in here, the more they will think I've gotten far away. Jared was slowly adjusting to life within the agency. Although he desperately missed his family, Lyra helped keep him positive and happy. Besides, Arpatha had assured him his family were all safe and they would be reunited very soon. Like most young children, Jared grew comfortable with boundaries and routine. He had come to accept the story that he couldn't go outside because the bad men that had tried to hurt his family might still try to hurt him. So he was content with going to his classes, roaming the corridors between his room and the cafeteria, and playing with Lyra. The one thing Jared was not adapting well to was his training time with Agent Gray. "Arpatha, I don't want to go to training anymore," Jared whispered. He scares me." Arpatha knelt and wrapped her arms around the boy. "I know, sweetie. He scares everyone," she said, remembering that look in his eyes that had sent her running for her life. "Just do what he says for now. Your parents will come soon, and you'll never have to see him again." She turned her face away from Jared, not wanting him to see the tears in her eyes. She no longer believed his parents would ever return, or that the agency was looking after the best interest of any of the 3 children. How could they let that monster, Gray, put those kids through the kind of torment she was hearing about? Arpatha found herself wondering if Lyra and Bostrel's parents' death had really been an accident. Or was that just another story the agency wanted her to believe? She squeezed Jared a little closer. "I can't take this anymore," she thought. "I can't just keep lying to these children, telling them everything is going to be all right when everything inside me says it's not. If I say anything to someone, Gray will kill me. But I can't just let him turn these kids into the same kind of monsters that he is." "Jared?" Look at me. You need to trust me about something, but you can't ever tell Agent Gray, or he will get very angry with both of us. You don't want that, do you? No, Jared replied, furrowing his eyebrows. Good. Now you remember how you told me Gray is teaching you to use your fear, and anger, and even hatred to activate this ability of yours? Jared nodded. He says it will make me stronger, the scareder or madder I get. I don't believe that's true, Jared. I don't believe there's anything stronger than the power of love. You said he makes you really mad or scared, so you fling objects across the room or crush them. Jared, we're friends, right? You know I love you like you were my own child, don't you? As the boy slowly nodded his agreement, Arpatha continued. I want you to lift me and move me over that chair and then set me gently down on the desk. But not the way Gray is teaching you. Clear any fear, anger, or hate from your mind. I want you to focus on your family, on their faces, and how much you love them. Remember a time you were all together, laughing and playing in the sunlight. Can you try that, Jared? Jared paused, confused because what Arpatha was asking him was the complete opposite of how Gray was teaching him. I can try, he answered, sounding more like a question than a statement. Closing his eyes, Jared began to picture in his mind a time when his family were at the park, running around playing tag, then falling and rolling in the soft green grass. After a short time, Arpatha could see Jared's face relax. Okay, open your eyes and lift me, Jared. You can do it. I'm trying. I can't do it. Jared looked apologetically up at Arpatha. I'm sorry. It's okay. That was only your first try. I have an idea for something that might help. Or should I say, someone. After summoning Lyra to the classroom, Arpatha told her that she was wanting to try an experiment with Jared, but needed her to calm him and help keep him concentrated only on one thing. Okay, Jared, Lyra is going to help you control your emotions. I want you to focus on only the love of your family like you did before. Then picture in your mind that I'm rising in the air and floating over to the table. Okay, are you both ready? Now. As Jared focused again on the memory of his family in the park, Lyra held on to his arm, feeling the power of the love he had for his family. Rarely had she felt an emotion that registered so strong and pure, and it took all the control she had developed in the last 3 years to keep her from getting swept away with the power of it. Without consciously thinking of what she was doing, she reached over to Arpatha, who was standing close, and grabbed a hold of her wrist, transferring what she was feeling through Jared into Arpatha. The three of them stood there for several moments, sharing the joy of the little boy's fondest memory, with happy tears streaming down their faces. None of them wanted to rush out of this moment, but Lyra was struggling to maintain the link and had to let go. Suddenly, Arpatha understood why Jared was having trouble using his abilities. The strength of his emotions were making it difficult for him to focus on performing another task. But then why do his abilities manifest so powerfully when he is under intense distress? As Arpatha watched Jared talking to Lyra, she pondered why the powerful emotions of hate, fear, and anger seemed to be more conducive to activating Jared's abilities than did love and happiness. After a few minutes of meditating on this, it was like a light bulb came on in her mind. Of course! When the negative emotions are forced on Jared from the outside, he has little control over them. They cause him to react without thinking, and he hurls things across the room or crushes them. I've been trying to get him to focus his positive emotions and control them, but that's not causing his survival instincts to react. I need to find a way for him not to have strong, overpowering emotions either way, but still engages powers in a controlled manner. All right, so that was chapter 9. Tune in next time for chapter 10 of my book, A Child Shall Rise, to follow more of the adventures of Jared and Lyra and their lives in the agency, and to find out what Agent Gray is up to. Thanks for tuning in, and if you like my book, please like and subscribe. I'm Buck. Have a great day.